What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Carcino here. Want to say thank you guys who got a notification. They're not sending almost any notifications out nowadays to anybody saying or even uttering the word Charlie KIrk anymore. But let's get into this situation because this situation to me was a lot more telling than what people would let on. Don't forget, hit that like button. Quan, I already see you number one on the board. Good to see you, brother. Now, when we start talking about what's real and what's fake and society and what's being put on the table in front of us, hit that like button up, man. Charleston White is banned. From what I've been told, Charleston White is banned, and this isn't the first time. Like Charleston White was banned 2-3 years ago, or they took his channel for all these community guideline rules. They changed the community guidelines. So a lot of things were brought into play that never came to be. Well, there's a lot of red tape that was going on, but there's some things I wanted to discuss that I spoke of earlier. Charleston White has made a career off of saying some of the most egregious comments ever about every single body, right? And everybody seems to think it's okay. And y'all laugh and joke. But he speaks about Charlie KIrk passing, and he laughs and he disrespected his family. Yeah, it was like the whole nine was there. There was so many different situations that occurred that just didn't make a lot of sense to the rest of us. And we just didn't understand it. But to me, this is exactly what we was talking about with everybody else. People doing things to try to be popular and have some sort of back and forth. Yeah, and come right and do all this nonsense All right, that's why I don't really talk about Charleston White. Because all he does is try to do anything to say, look at me. And anything that makes our tragedy look ridiculous or make us look crazy, he's all for it. Anything that makes us look crazy, he's all for. Now, the whole rest of the world is, this was a popular figure worldwide because he, was lobbying for the president. But when you see a whole bunch of people around the world are getting fired for any little thing they say negative about this man and his family, and everything Charleston White said was outrageous and should have been banned and taken down, and disrespecting the man's family and kids, laughing at him dying, all of this stuff to try to get attention for himself, which is ridiculous, claiming he doing charity work for people, and it's all just a ruse. But it was okay for him to do that, disrespecting black folks. There was no, we finna take your channels and all this stuff, and all this content ID stuff, y'all kept letting him come back, putting him on podcast shows, treating him like he was a frontline celebrity when this man has done nothing to. It's like, okay, well, what makes him special? What makes him a celebrity? Like, what makes him on that, playing field? I'm like, there's no way you would put him on that scale. You don't deserve to be there. And y'all keep making this a Charlie KIrk situation. I'm like that with everything he was doing. I was telling y'all for years, I'm like, dude, this guy here is just ridiculous. Period. Why is Charleston White being honored and put on this plateau? But I just find it very strange that the moment he says something about Charlie KIrk's family, it's immediate shutdown for him. But when he was making fun of black people, it was all cool. Nobody said anything. I just find that pretty strange that YouTube would take that and give him that allowance and say, oh, well, it's Charlie White being Charlie White. So there seems to be a double standard somewhere where the system is wrong, because I felt a long time ago, people with that kind of toxic behavior don't have any place on YouTube. That's all that toxic energy and stuff like that, laughing at people who deceased, making fun of people's children and things of that nature. That kind of nonsense, there's no place for it on YouTube, period. That's not what YouTube is about. So all of that clown behavior that goes against any morals and principles shouldn't even be there anyway. So it's not about Charlie KIrk. It's about right and wrong, period. He's a troll. What's a troll? Troll is just some things teenagers do that's stupid. It's just a troll, man. I don't troll. Okay, that's not what I do. I'm a grown-ass man. A grown-ass man don't got time to troll somebody. So apparently, from what I'm hearing, YouTube has banned him. So that means he can't go and start another channel and say, hey, I'm Charleston White. Here's my new channel. So far, he's been banned. Another person who's gotten that band and made a life on another platform was Tommy Sotomayor. You know, he was another person who's done these acts, and he did it to an NBA player, and he got himself shut down. Now, a lot of people might not like what I say on some of my videos, but they can't say that I've been egregious in doing things of that nature, because I don't. The majority of my videos, there's no profanity in it. Well, what's it to the masses? Well, it's a bit different when you're in your society or your home or how you choose to live, and principles. And Charleston White has been honored and patted on the back for being an idiot and just saying the most egregious things, but it gets people hits and views because it's cool to keep our people ignorant. So we got to be ignorant to facts. Did I agree a lot of things with Charleston White said? No. Do I agree with a lot of things that Charlie KIrk said? Absolutely not. He made some points that I agree with, but he's coming from a different angle than me, and definitely not from a love of people with color. He has a certain bias, in my opinion, with people of color. And it was in his tone, it was in his delivery, the whole nine. So for the rest of us, we were in a position where the majority of us were doing things that didn't really add up to what others would seem as the overall picture. No, 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 no. Well, he's got connections with people who are in this realm. Well, yeah, his it's a difference from what. Here's the thing. There's a major difference from what, let's say, Howard Stern and what he does in comparison to let's say, a let's say Howard Stern and Charleston White. Howard Stern has a bit of reserve. There's a certain limit he would go to. But at times, back in the day, he would cross the line and would pay a fine for it and would later apologize. Like his biggest trouble he had gotten into was playing, you know, Selena songs and had gunfire in the background of her music. He knew he was going to get in trouble for that. And he ended up having to apologize where he did it in Spanish. And he don't speak Spanish, but he had to do the apology in Spanish. And he did it to get attention and viewership. And they was like, oh, he's the shock jock. Then came Morton Downey Jr. He was the next guy, smoking cigarettes, doing what he wants to do, the loud mouth, say whatever he wants. But there were certain lines that wasn't going to be crossed. You know, you didn't talk about children and that nature. And with Diana Plato, you know, going to a situation where she went on Howard Stern and the things that were said on the show, you know, seemed like it triggered her into, you know, taking her own life and having an accidental overdose because of it and messing up not her life, her son's too, who ended up losing his life the same way as his mom, being depressed over the said situation. So that shows you how that shock jock stuff doesn't really work, because the most of the people do it is for hits and views and attention. I never say things for shock value or, you know, the attention. I say it because I mean it. That's the thing about me. And other people are like, oh, you just hating on LeBron because you know that's going to get you the views. No, I only talk about LeBron when I got something to say. I don't make LeBron videos every day. When all of these people who say I don't, they do anyway, just to kiss up to LeBron. Because they look at the algorithm and they want to just keep LeBron out there just to think of something for LeBron. I mention LeBron when it's relevant. I talk about things that I do. I have a channel that I dedicate to movie reviews because why? I love movies. I'm at the movies all the time. I've been to the movie premieres. I've written movies. Hell, I thought I was going to be somebody who produced and made his own movies. I wrote 4 or 5 movies. My friend who I grew up around the corner, y'all know, he was in movies. My cousin who was just sitting here on this couch was in the soundtrack of the movie. So it's an entirely different scenario altogether when it comes to what someone wants to be and how they move about, and when it comes to doing what they're doing in said society, it becomes completely different. And when you disrespect somebody who was beloved like not Charleston White, but Charlie KIrk. Charlie KIrk has a lot of followers who have a lot of pull at a lot of these, places where they could make calls. And those people will get on that phone and make calls. As you can see, people are getting fired. They're getting let go. Discrimination. This woman wouldn't even print up a picture for a visual. And I'm like, you guys are making it worse than what it actually is. A man has lost his life over words that someone didn't believe they didn't like what he said. And didn't like the way he was spreading the words that he was spreading, what they call propaganda. And it was divisive and He lost his life behind it. Some lone person decided to go ahead and do just that. I just think it's reckless, you know. So for somebody like Charleston White to come along and say something so ridiculous in a statement, it speaks volume. So while he thought it was all funny, it was all funny games to make fun of a man who's deceased. Now he's seeing it ain't that funny. But I do see a double standard that when it's a black person, nobody have anything to say. He's hilarious. I haven't heard him tell a joke. What's his joke? What's hilarious about it? Yeah, he jokes about and tells things about rappers dying and somebody else's dead child, all the gangbangers dying, and that was okay for YouTube. YouTube didn't come through and say nothing. Nobody took his Instagram down. But now that he says something about Charlie KIrk and his family, here comes IG, here comes YouTube. Everybody now seems to have this belief or this double standard of now the outrage is there. Nobody really cares about him. See, here's the thing: in the real world, nobody cares about Charleston White. Like real people with jobs that got sense of mind. They don't listen to Charleston White. They don't even know who he is. Real people don't pay attention to clowns. You know who pay attention to people like Charleston White? Young people in their 20s and all of that. That's on YouTube and then Instagram. Like, man, he be roasting people. Y'all do. They actually pay attention to him. We don't pay attention to no Charleston White because he's not about anything. People who pay bills and got taxes and all that, they ain't got time to be listening to him. Some clown. They don't know him. My mother wouldn't know who Charleston White was. Now, exactly. When you start seeing that scenario, free Charleston White. It's freedom of speech, but watch what you say. God gave you a voice, and He gave you a word, and your word is bond. Now, once you damage your word, it's hard to get your word back. It's hard for somebody to trust you again. I'm not mad at Charleston White. I told you, I don't pay attention to Charleston White. Well, Charleston White is entirely different, because they saying, well, he talked about Kobe's being deceased and all that for shock value. Well, like I keep saying, this is people's fault. This is you as a person. You want to tune in to watch and look at something like that. If somebody did something like that, disrespected Kobe's death and made fun of it, I don't want to have nothing to do with them. I ain't no way in hell I would sit there and be dealing with you. There's nothing there ain't nothing to joke about there. If they gonna make Charleston White apologize, he only gonna apologize once it affects his bottom line. Once they see that money going away, now they gonna want to apologize. We spoke about Howard Stern. Do you see Howard Stern doing that stuff anymore? No, he does not. We talked about the Selena thing. We said what he did and how he did it, but he was on the radio doing this, trying to get views and attention. I wasn't a huge Howard Stern fan. That wasn't for our culture. There's only so much a person can do. No. Not at all, sir. Charleston White come at blacks channels channels up, and he comes as competition, and they take his channel down. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So when you see there's a double standard, then you know something. Well, when people don't understand something, they become something either greater or less than. Like I told you, everybody wanted to be a shock jock on the radio, and they started making rule changes. Now Howard Stern don't do that type of stuff no more because they don't play that. There's been all type of changes and things made. Even if you're a YouTube creator, their community guideline rules have changed dramatically on what they're going to allow and what they're not going to allow due to mental health, bullying online, and all of these different narratives. So you have to keep in mind that you have to be respectful of the people that you're dealing with, because if you're not, they're going to make an example of these people that's out here causing this pain to people, like Charleston White. To me, he was a clown way back when, and I told you that. This is why I don't really cover or champion nothing he does. Right. I blame people that paid attention to Charleston White anyway. Charleston versus Tip was funny. I don't find anything funny in what he do. I didn't even watch that. Like I told you, I don't really deal with this guy. But once I heard the report of what they did, as you can see, this happened probably days ago. I'm just not finding out because I don't. He's not on my news. You understand? This man is not on my news. He's not on my wavelength. So I don't waste my time being concerned with him because there's real things going on in this world. Real things, and they don't even tell you about, because they don't want you to know what's happening, know what's going on, the whole nine. Prime example. I want y'all to meet Trey Reed from Delta State University in Mississippi, who was found hanging from a tree with 2 broken legs. Just one day ago. If anybody black covered him, where's the news? This is in 2025. That black man, Demar Trayvon Reed, was hanging from a tree in the middle of campus on Monday morning. They held a press conference Monday, and they said no foul play is currently suspected in Reed's death, and no threat to campus exists. This is what the Delta State University police said, that this black man's death just on Monday at approximately 7:05 a.m., university police was notified of what happened to appears to be a body of a black male hanging from a tree at Central Campus near DSU pickleball course. We later identified the man to be Demar Trayvon Reed of Grenada, Mississippi. And they actually had the nerve to come out and say that there's no foul play. And you tell me I'm supposed to be worried about Charlie KIrk and all this other stuff. This is why I say this stuff wasn't on my news, because I watch what's going on around the world. Now, how many of y'all in this chat even knew about this? You would think something this big would be on the news, right? You haven't seen any coverage on it whatsoever. Somebody said they did. And I'm glad that you did. But the majority of the world, they haven't seen it. They have no idea what's going on. See, when people are focused on real news, this is what pretty much happens on a scale that's not usually on the verge of things that they can understand on a periodic table. Somebody said they knew yesterday. Somebody said it's all over my social media. That's what I'm saying. If it's on your news, then you would understand, you would see it. Because, see, I am doing a story on it because the two things align. While everybody was putting all the focus on Charlie KIrk because of his popularity of what he is as a character, as a basically a whip for Donald Trump. He was known worldwide. So he's going to get worldwide media attention. But still, in the news, this is supposed to be a situation of control. It's supposed to be a situation that makes society better or the world better. All of these different terminologies that they use. that we're supposed to learn from these events that happen. But to me, when the investigation fails, this black man, I mean, that's something that raises eyebrows or should raise an eyebrow. Oh, for that was only true, Lorraine Davidson. If that was only true. I think it's very important because the fact that they said no foul play. I'm like, no foul play? Are you kidding me? How could they be no foul play? That doesn't even register to me that there's no foul play in the entire. That's just something normal. I think the autopsy report reveals that he had 2 broken legs. Yeah, well, when you got 2 broken legs, how did that happen? So when they say no foul play and both of his legs were broken, I don't understand it. Mm-hmm. There's only so much you can do when you start thinking about an existence into, the ramifications of. No, yeah, if you start thinking about what could happen and what couldn't happen, I mean, who would be right? Who would be interested in a Charleston White at that point? Charleston White is somebody that is not somebody that's even worthy of your attention. But people gravitate to it because they push us to nonsense and ignorance. Have you noticed when we start talking about world leaders with us, who do they run and get? When they start saying, oh, our world leaders, right? when they talk to white people and talk about world leaders, they got who? Bill Gates, Warren Buffett. You got the president of the United States. You have all of these different, anomalies together, right? You have all of these different people to come together. But when you start talking about black people and you start talking about world leaders, they talking about Jay-Z. Who's your leaders of your community? Who's the people that you supposed to idolize? In no society do they choose entertainers or athletes. LeBron James, Michael Jordan. These are our leaders now. When before we had Malcolm, we had Malcolm X, Malcolm, Marcus Garvey, W.D. Du Bois. We had scholars, scientists. We had people that we looked up to that had some stature. Now they want us to look at Michael Jordan, LeBron, Jay-Z. These are your leaders. Be that rapper. Be that athlete. And that's all you could ever be. That's what they want to promote. Like I told you, I go to the movies all the time. And you see a coming of age teenage movie with white folks, they can just make a movie just hanging out with their homeboys. They don't have to do anything other than. Now you start asking yourself, why on that scale do they push world leaders to be segregated when it comes to culture? When it comes to our culture, when it comes to our film, our coming of age film got to be Boys in the Hood, Minister Society. When in society, most of us didn't grow up like that. We have a coming of age movie too, where we just hang out with our boys, play video games, do stupid stuff. We can't put movies out like that for us. Oh no, but they can. They got a bunch of white kids skating around. Woo, this is fun. Dude, let's go and just have a house party and have an event and just go on the chase and go get girls. They don't do that with us. We can't put out a movie like that to show what black kids do in those situations of a coming of age movie. Now, if you get a black reality show or a black television series, it's about how we cheated on a woman or a woman is better than us and belittling us, and it's all about woman power. And men are powerless, black men. It's all about my husband ain't it, part 3. why I hate my husband, part 2. Or, we the drug crime syndicate. Power 8. Power book 8. Look, I'm gonna take these drugs and I'm gonna go over here and deliver it to him. And it's like everybody ain't drug dealers. What is going on around here? There's no balance anymore. I'm like, remember, we did do comedies, we did have sitcoms, people did have, jobs. Not everybody who black says, hey, we gotta go and commit crime. If white people do crime, it's all swept under the rug. Sopranos. That's a good American wholesome family. They used to bring it on like Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Get the family together. Let's watch Sopranos. To watch Tony Soprano and the rest of his homeboys whack people, extort people for money, go to strip clubs, womanize all the women, racist towards blacks. Great American family show. The Wire. Oh my God, it's disgusting. Drug movie. When The Wire actually was the better show. It just didn't have a budget, but the first two seasons of The Wire was incredible. Very well written. And that's the part that hurts people. The part that hurts people the most is that they're stuck in this thing where they can't get out of this conundrum of where they are as people, as far as their mental state. Their mental state isn't well. And when your mental state isn't well, you start making mistakes. You start doing dumb stuff. Well, you was playing chess about 13. He said, guess what I was doing about 13? See, look at this person. They just want some attention. I'm just aware. It's a lot of people awake, but they're not aware. People say, man, I'm woke. You got to stay woke. I'm not woke. I'm awake. I'm awake and aware. And that's the thing. People don't have awareness anymore. But I appreciate you. The most clear people movies are about serial killers. Well, you ever thought about that? Why the majority of them have these tendencies to do these acts? Most of them are on medication. Do you know why they make these medications? For them, not really for us. These medicines were made for them because they can't really function in society, and to try to keep them normalized without them resorting into savage behaviors. They own tretazone, Right. Prednisone. They got all kind of medications for everything they want. Zoloft, Ritalin. They got all of these medicines that were never designed for us. Because there's a chemical imbalance. I seen clips like from Instagram from Dame Dash's interview with Breakfast Club. I haven't had a chance to sit down and go through it yet. They removed his YouTube channel and I believe his Instagram was taken down when he made that post. It was repulsive. I don't even retweet it. I was like, I watched it and I just thought it was disgusting. Completely disgusting. Charleston White making fun of, it's not even about Charlie KIrk. It's about somebody who's deceased in their family. You know, he did this to Kobe Bryant. You think I wouldn't be upset? Right? And people was like, why are you defending a man that's a racist? It's not about a man that you think is racist or have racist points of views. Right? There's people that's probably racist right next door to you. Right across the street. Hell, about 70% of the people that I live around is probably racist. Long as they're not discriminating against you in any way, shape, or form, what you gonna do? Just stay barricaded in your house? I don't care if you don't like me, but you gonna respect me. Or get out my way, because I ain't in your way. Now, when they start putting their racism onto me and try to get in my way, then we will have a situation we'll have to deal with. Shoot. Realistically, yeah. But there are some people who are not racist at all. No child is born racist. Okay? It's what you're taught. It's a mental condition based on how you were raised, what kind of people you were raised around. If you're raised around people that have love and respect for all people, then you won't have this in your nature. But if you have this elitist status of we're better than them, and this is my foundations, everyone has what they would call their beliefs or their family beliefs. You know, our family was like that. There's no tattoos, there's no, whatever was happening in the outside world did not affect what was going on in this household. You in this household, we don't get caught up in fads that's going around. And that's why I was glad I had that foundation of a strong base family, because they didn't allow us to get caught with the distractions. And people were getting tattoo sleeves. You got people so confused. Now they want nose bone rings. And anything to go with the trend. We were not a trendy people. We didn't fall into these traps of doing stupid stuff because everybody else was doing it. Like I told you, caste, C-A-S-T-E. Look up caste. Has nothing to do with color, has nothing to do with race. It has something to do with the mental brainwash that people used to put one person over another. It has nothing to really do with race. In India, they're the same race. But if you're poor, they think, oh my God, don't even touch them. They have jobs that's inhumane for the majority of these people. They can go to school. They have to sit in the back of the class and can't interact with the other kids who have money. They're of the same ilk, but the kid grows up thinking there's something must be wrong with them because of this caste that's going on. So you come to my channel, you're going to learn things. You're not going to come here and won't pick up anything or learn. You're going to come here and learn something. This caste system is worldwide. It's what happened in Nazi Germany. It's what happened with the Japanese and Chinese. It's what happens around the world where they feel superior. It's a mental sickness. The world has to learn how to heal from that. And the only way you can heal is you know people, you communicate with people. It break down those barriers that are put up because you just don't know. We had a Latin dude named Raphael. We called him Raphael. His name was Raphael. Nobody really knew him. Like, we didn't know his family. We didn't really interact with too many Latinos at that time. Raphael was the first one we ever interacted with. And Raphael was cool. He played basketball with us, hung out around us, everything. So he became part of our circle. Raphael was down. And you learn about their culture and you learn about their family and how they was actually a loving people. But they didn't allow a lot of black people around because they didn't know them. Most of them didn't speak English. So they were afraid. And most of the blacks just hated them anyway, just because they were different. And that was the same thing that was going on with the mental brainwash the other way around. I'm like, the same thing you talk about with white people, now you doing it to the Hispanics. That's a mental sickness. You don't have to like somebody. No one is saying that. But respecting them is entirely different. You ain't got to like somebody, but give them their proper etiquette. Give them their respect that they give you. You show respect, you give respect. You don't get in their way. Do you see black folks getting in white folks' way? No, you don't see that, do you? Because it's not happening. It's always some conservative person who knows nothing about what's going on in said area, but want to involve themselves. They want to invoke their rights and they feel they need to be heard. I'm not being heard enough. I need to be heard. I'm going to make a speech talking about the poor people. And we need to do this for the poor and that about the poor and the poor and the poor and the poor. And I'm like, when do you run any programs for the poor? When the last time you've been around the poor? Ever? When have you done something that didn't benefit yourself. Everything you've done has been to benefit you. Every bit. You've done nothing to give to anybody else but you and your family. But yet, you want to open your mouth to say something in support to anybody else that's poor. You want to tell them how they should live when you are not a part of that community. When they're fighting for their rights, you come out of nowhere to try to tell them what rights they shouldn't be applying or fighting for. Who are you? You living in your plush life with a plush job, overpaid, underqualified, and you're trying to comment on somebody else. So who's interfering with who? But then they blame the poor people for everything. Oh, the poor people, they don't affect the bottom line of the 1%. Y'all make y'all money off the poor. The poor is not tearing down your neighborhoods. Your neighborhoods are going down because the poor people came and start moving in there. They start letting these poor people in the hood. No, your neighborhoods is going down because you uppity bastards ruined it. Here's the problem. You ruined it. You take your money. You're too good to spend your money in the local areas. You're going to restaurants. You're going here to there. You don't support the local bars. You don't support the local neighborhood events. You're not there at all. You might show up once in a while and when they do a little fundraiser, but other than that, you're not part of the community. You go out. You go out all the time to bars, restaurants, outside of your community. You're not really a part of anything. And why do you think they letting some of those poor people in there? Because they want to make money off of them. They're going to say, we'll let Section 8 over here. When before they wouldn't. Because that money comes directly from the government. Because you, uppity people who had all these good jobs, they disappeared. And you don't have any talent to get another job that would pay you that kind of money. Those jobs that were paying you astronomical amount of money for nothing, they don't exist anymore. You actually got to know a thing or two. You actually got to do something. Your daddy and uncles who was giving you all these jobs. My auntie got me this job. My uncle got me this job. They put you in a position to be supervising other people who've actually worked for a living. You stepping in as vice president of the company because your daddy owned it and you know nothing about the business. I've seen that happen. I've seen the resentment. He said, I learned the ins and outs of insurance law. Well, that's good. You learned something. You had an opportunity to. Do you know how many people out here where I live, there is a trade school in every four corners of where I live. Ask where's one in the hood. Why don't they teach economics in the hood? They don't want blacks to know economics. They want them to be workers. They need good factory workers. So here it is, 2025. They still want you on the plantation, working in retail, working in the fields, in their warehouses. What does that remind you of? You're not boss, you're not supervisor. You're not a doctor. You're not a lawyer. Remember you used to bale cottons out in the field? Now you in Walmart baling cotton t-shirts, putting them on the racks. Not putting down someone's job, because if you got to do that to feed your family, then you got to feed your family. I'm just saying, society has turned, and while everybody just was on party and BS their entire life, they blinked and then they 50 and they don't have a real job because they always thought they were going to be doing something else. They never prepared themselves for a career in anything. Well, we as Black folks, we haven't prepared them for a career because we didn't know how. That's why I have my Patreon on Casino for Life. I was telling y'all now, use this internet, which is a weapon. The internet is a weapon. Because do you know the average Black people go on there, what they go and look at? TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Right? It used to be Snapchat. I don't know if Snapchat is still the thing. But those were the 4 major things that they looked at on social media. Now Twitter is the 5th. Okay? 5 sites Black folks go to considerably, even white. Those are the 5 major sites that they will all go to on social media. And they will spend hours a day on there for those 5 sites. There are trillions of dollars being passed throughout the internet every 24 hours. And there's ways for you to get paid. But you don't care about being on any of those sites to find out any of that information because you're only on 5 sites. 5 web pages every day, getting nothing. When I show people that they can run their own business and become their own entrepreneur, because that's going to be the only job you have in the future. Even television is changing. They're not producing any more shows. They're saying you produce the show and we'll distribute it. That's what network television is going to do now because the money is dried up. ESPN is closing doors and studios all around California. They're like, look, we just going to film it in one place and you could just stream it from your house. That's what they're doing now. Cable is holding on by a thread. I know people would be offended because it does not register with their mindset on what they plan everything to be or look like. Because we're taught that no one's going to do something for us or try to help us. So instead of trying to get the information, we want someone to give us the information. They want somebody to give you something. You want somebody to knock on your door and go, who is it? Job. We just came here to give you a job, man. Oh, cool. Well, when can I work? Well, I don't want to work on Monday through Friday. Nah, I'll pick on Wednesday. Ain't nothing going on Wednesday. So I'll work Wednesdays and maybe Tuesdays. Is that cool? Good. So they expect that to happen to them. Somebody can come knock on the door and actually give you a job. But this is where things are going to get scarce because they don't even have jobs for white folks now. For those uppity people, they're cutting jobs. 30,000 jobs gone. 300,000 jobs gone. Worldwide, companies are going defunct. They don't need them anymore. You're being replaced by AI. All of these jobs that used to have a whole corporation to do, they don't need them anymore. They used to have a Xerox faxing company. Those companies don't even exist pretty much anymore. They're like not needed. They got like 2 employees in there now because most people don't need office papers and sticky notes. Some of them do, but not the majority. They're all working from home. All of these things are coming and going just as quick. Why? Because they don't need it. They don't need it. No, it's going to get worse. I don't know about better. It's just going to get worse. Well, you're going to have to learn how to survive in the new millennium. When your kids go to school, they're learning now as babies how to operate tablets. They need to learn how to operate a tablet. You know why? All their education, I've seen 2-year-old babies working tablets. They turn it on, turn it off. They know how to scroll through it with their finger. These are 2-year-olds. Everything is on this tablet. Everything's electronic. Because they're going to need to know this technology because that's all that's going to be left is who controls the AI? Can you program AI? Can you use this internet? Can you use this software to do this? Now they got an AI that can do what 10 people, 30 people used to could do. Oh, we need you to write this resume. Oh, no, you don't have to do that no more. The AI could do that. Now, what happened to this person who had a job doing that? They're null and void. Oh, I need a thumbnail. Oh, don't worry about that. The AI can do that. Now your thumbnail business is gone. So now you're going to have teachers at home. Most of these kids are getting raised by Miss Rachel. So that's where we at. So when people come up and say they was doing this or they're doing that in society, we have to learn that there is a complete unfathomable thing that is transpiring here that we're not usually accustomed to. Everybody else saying they were accustomed to these changes, but I haven't seen it, to be honest. What I've seen is people trying to navigate through a decadent age. They want to be seen. They want to be brought out into this broadened horizon, but they're not prepared for it because everybody nowadays don't want to do the work. They just want everything fast. That's why we have lack of doctors. We have lack of trust. We have lack of anybody trying to commit. How many nurses assistants do you think they need? All you got to do is go to class for 4 more years and get your doctorate. Now I'm gonna get my nursing license. I can get that in like 2 courses and 2 semesters, so I can be a nursing assistant. Dog, I went to the hospital. I'm like, I can just start throwing singles on the floor. It is nothing but strippers and thoughts, IG thoughts in there. This girl, somebody in that thing going, dee, dee, dee. She in there taking pictures. I'm like, you need to get in there. While you out here posing, the thing beeping on there. What are you doing? That's because they don't get the big picture, the main scope of it. That's the part that eludes them. They don't get the scope. They don't get the big picture. They don't see down the road. What they see is only what's in front of them. That's it. And I feel sad for those people because they don't really get it. Y'all get it. Said I had a black doctor, save my life when I was fighting cancer and will never let anyone but him touch me. That's what I'm saying, Kevin Parker. There's people out here who are black that won't give black people a chance in anything because we've been conditioned to think that we're lesser. They had the episode on Sanford and Son. I'll never forget it when he had the black dentist. I want a white dentist. Because we have been programmed to think of ourselves as lesser, not knowing that the black dentist was the head guy. And he was like, well, let me get the head guy in here. The head doctor. Who ran the whole practice. That's what they said. They'll ask the black doctor where he went to school. Oh, where you went to school at? White doctor come up and he got, nobody wanted a doctor that got C's. Like, dude, you got C's, doc? And that's what they was like, man, can you become a doctor even if you got a C? I'll be like, would you go to a doctor that had a C in the medical field or an A? I wouldn't want to go to a doctor that got D's and F's. I passed, but man, I've just made it. I got a 69. No, I'm sorry. They're gonna be like, he need this. Oh, I missed that on the test. Yeah, I can't have that. No, I can't do that. You're gonna have to get another doctor. No, I could do it though. I remember. Let me try. No, you ain't finna try with me, bro. Here's the thing, man. He said, I don't see color. Half my family is black, and I promise they got my back before any white people. That's the thing. See, I do see color because I can't help it. That's what color they are. And that's the problem. People need to see color. People can't say, I do not see color. I do. That person's black. That person's white. That person Hispanic. That person is Indian. I see you. You don't have to be invisible. I do not see color. Everyone is just looking the same. No, they're not. They all different. They all got their own colors, and that's fine. No, I do see color. That person is white, Slavic, or whatever you want to call it. That person is black. That person is Hispanic. That person is Indian. They have their own cultures. They have their own beliefs. Just respect what they do, and they respect what you do. That's the thing that needs to be there. Because anybody can be a scumbag. I've seen a scumbag black person, scumbag white person, scumbag Hispanic, scumbag Indian, scumbag Mexican. Everybody got a scumbag. No matter what. So your color don't exempt you for anything. What about the human race? We're all in the human race. That's right. We are the human race. We are human people. You know, the animals don't say we're in the animal race. We're in the animal race. Come on, we're in the animal race. No, it's biology. Right? A lion and a tiger are both cats. Right? But a lion does not sleep with a tiger. The Animal Kingdom, yes, that is a television series. Okay? A lion and a tiger are both cats, but neither one sleep with each other. Do you know why? I do. Because they are not the same species. They're both cats. Right. You can have a pit bull sleep with a Rottweiler, and they make a whole new type of dog. And they said, well, dogs can sleep with each other and keep why? You know why? Because they're the same species. That's why it can happen. He bred a lion and tiger together. No, what he did, they can't have. What they did was actually, and if they do, they artificially inseminate those people, those things, because the babies will come out to be drones. They cannot reproduce. They called it a liger, a tiger and lion mix. Call it a liger. They cannot breed. They're not the same species. That's why bobcats sleep with bobcats. The leopards sleep with leopards. The cheetah sleeps with a cheetah because they are all different species. They all cats, right? They're from the feline. Okay? The feline family tree. But They are not. They're all feline, but they are not the same species. Now, us, we can sleep with a Chinese person, Mexican, white, any of these people and reproduce. Why? Because we are all part of the same species. See, when you come here, you're going to learn something. So when people ask you stupid questions, you can answer them with information. Historically incorrect. We don't know where white people come from. Yes, we do. It's actually in your Bible. Let's bet $100. You don't have to bet $100. Everyone can tell you that. Anybody who know. Everybody know about the curse of Canaan, right? The curse of Canaan. They went back to, you remember the story of Canaan, right? He went back and he helped. And when he went back to go help, Canaan went back and took a reward when he wasn't supposed to. And the guy offered them the award. And he was like, the guy was like, nah, we ain't gonna do it. And he's like, nah, we're not gonna do it. Right? That was what was that? Ham. That was Noah's because Canaan was supposed to be the servant of servants to his brothers, Shem and Japheth. Japheth. All right. Ham was the one who committed the shameful act, though. Noah cursed Canaan, leading into centuries of debate about the use of the word curse to support slavery, racism, and everything else, right? And they call it the curse of Ham. Ham went there and did all these different things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I know. They said it came from shit. In the book of Umar. That's hilarious. Mm-hmm. The people of Canaan, they the ones who was the only people who got hit with the leprosy, right, in the scripture. And God didn't punish everybody in the Canaan. He did it to specific people who they said it was punishment for their actions. So dealing with that, Miriam, who was the sister of Moses and Aaron, she was temporarily afflicted with the leprosy. She became white as snow after she and Aaron spoke against Moses for marrying a Cushite woman and questioned his authority after Moses pleaded with God. She was healed, but was still required to spend 7 days outside of the camp. What's his name? Keem, Uzziah, Gehazi, and the book of Leviticus laid out the laws. So you had instruction if you went and settled yourself in the land of Canaan. You didn't want to get hit with this leprosy, this condition that caused your skin to turn white. A condition we see a lot happening now with a lot of people that are born with those, they call them albinos. Mm-hmm. That's right, Kerry Williams. It was never fun when he was talking about black people. That wasn't fun at all. I didn't find it fun and entertaining. I thought it was sick and disgusting. This man talked about Kobe Bryant when he passed. He talked about a lot of people, F them gang bangers, and and this is the kind of behavior that has to stop with our people because it only provokes people to do more violence, which means somebody's gonna lose their life, somebody's gonna be hurt, somebody's gonna be crying, somebody's going to jail, and that's what they want with us. And who's there to pick up all the pieces? Who they look like? What complexion is them? They're there to pick up all the pieces. You got one in jail, one in the ground. They want to keep that system going. And meanwhile, they getting overtime. I told you, that's what stopped a man who was he was a Crip, and it was during like the LA riots. This is what led to the truce between the Crips and Bloods. One of the cops was there, and he was like, "Hey, I'm glad y'all doing this, man, because now I get to put my daughter through college with all of this overtime. I got a daughter going to college, man. All this overtime, I need it. So thanks, man. Y'all keep up this violence. I could stay out here on the streets." And that was the first time it ever hit this man. And he wasn't saying it to be racist or bigotry. He was saying it so it would penetrate to this guy's head. He wanted him to hear him say it like that, so he would wake up. That is absolutely correct. We have to stop with all this disrespect of people who have lost their lives. Forget about Charlie KIrk. Okay, it's not about Charlie KIrk. It's about humans losing their lives, families. We don't make fun of their children who is going to be suffering behind that. Where is the joke in that? Where's the comedy in that? There is no comedy. Kobe Bryant, his daughter losing their life. Where's the joke? There's no comedy in that. There's nothing funny about it. So this is about humanity. We've lost our humanity. None of these people who would do it, they move like cowards. That's why they start doing these shameless acts. So they know they're going to get away with it. So why not go ahead and do it? Right. You come on my Patreon. You know what you find on my Patreon? Like people talked about how I got them into that fund that they don't even teach for any of you or get you involved in industrial real estate. I showed you guys businesses, like 5 businesses that are make you profitable today. Small businesses, you could start a company with $2,000. Some even less, and how to make money for yourself, how to run your own bank. You know, Chime is an online bank. You didn't even know you could make your own bank. There are Black people that own their own banks, a husband and wife. They run their own bank. They have an online bank. So these are the things that we discuss on the Patreon because we want to teach you something. We want you to open up and run your own business. Like I said, I have one of my Patreons right now. He's very successful. He got started right away with his transportation business. He started off, got in with some vending machines and got them in some of these factories. Now he's got a couple more trucks. He was like, man, you opened up my whole life. He went way beyond what I was talking about. He's like, you know, forget the vending. He's like, I want the one with the food. I got this one now. I got these other vending machines now. I was like, okay, well, do your thing, man. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. You hit the ground rolling, man. You make us proud, because I love to hear the success stories, and for me to say, somebody say, hey, man, you opened my eyes to a whole bunch of stuff that was going on out here that I didn't even know was available for us. I was like, man, I showed you where you can go to college for free. They have grants that they got to give you. The government has to give out these grants to people with low income. Like, it's a program that they have in blacks. They find a way to design it to give it to white folks because they don't tell blacks about it and they don't go and apply for it, and somebody white end up getting it. And that's it. Because contrary to what people believe, there are white people who broke too. Well, if you go to search in my Patreon and just type business, that's all you got to do. Anything with business is going to come up. Oh, yeah, we tell you the truth about it. That's why all this stuff you see coming up now, we've been talking about this on the Patreon for years. So that's why my Patreons in here was like, oh, man, you was right. See, look, they're just not talking about it. All this Charlie Sheen stuff, they was like, man, they just not talking about it. They just not doing it. We've already known it already exists. All these Hollywood secrets, they mad. I know they mad. I've been telling y'all. So yes, in this new era, one job will never cut it anymore. This is the multiple income revenue life now. That's the only way you're going to survive. So thank y'all for y'all time tonight. I appreciate everybody that came in here. Make sure all y'all hit the like button on this video. I want to also say, make sure every single one of y'all join my Casino for Life Patreon, man. I mean that. You want to support, we appreciate it. The banner down there below says donate to the Cash App, which is Casino. Appreciate y'all, man. Y'all was wonderful again. God bless all of you. And remember, just have humanity. It's common sense. No one should have to tell somebody not to disrespect the dead. Nobody should tell you not to disrespect the family that's grieving. No one should have to tell you that. That's automatic. That's part of your humanity. But if you didn't grow up with any, you become desensitized because of the internet. People see somebody getting beat by 30 people. They go, man, look at that. And then they switch to something else. Oh, they're totally oblivious to what they just witnessed. Have to get our humanity back. All right, I'm out. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. Welcome to HDII TV. 78 Sports TV, Blood Boxing. I see you doing your thing. Forget the phonies, and I'm out. Hi, I'm Casino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Casino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest